I will
David
not fight
Benavidez.
this fucking guy. He's a fucking monster,
But I
bro.
respect it though because
I'm
he's
just
very
gonna fucking
bro.
die, bro.
I can't. This is the
I
first time.
know.
Oh, hold on. This is the first time I've ever heard you say any of this.
I know my boundaries.
Paul's manager here last week, and he's open to the fight. Any developments on that?
Lots. I mean, you know, this bizarre world that we live in, I think Jake Paul is absolutely the front runner to fight Anthony Joshua next. I'm here in New York for meetings about that fight. There's an open dialogue between myself and Nikisa, an MVP. I don't know what to tell you, Bridgie, other than it's mental. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you this is a 50-50 matchup. The whole thing is bizarre. I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I've got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You've got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua.
Hi. Music, this, A__A guy. He's a respected though because I'm just going to die, bro. I can't. This is hold on. This is the first time I've ever heard you say any of this. I know my boundaries. Jake Paul is reportedly feeling the heat as Anthony Joshua unleashes terrifying training sessions ahead of his next fight. The YouTuber turned boxer can't hide his nerves watching AJ's raw power and ruthless preparation. Whispers of a showdown between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua have exploded into full-blown speculation. Jake Paul's manager here last week and he's open to the fight. Any developments on that? Lots. I mean, you know, this bizarre world that we live in, I think Jake Paul is absolutely the front runner to fight Anthony Joshua next. I'm here in New York for meetings about that fight. There's an open dialogue between myself and Nisa, an MVP. I don't know what to tell you, Bridgie, other than it's mental. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you this is a 50-50 matchup. The whole thing is bizarre. I think it's extremely dangerous for Jake Paul. You know, I got the general feedback is the boxing world saying, please, AJ, go in and evaporate this young man from the boxing world so we can all get on as normal. You got Jake Paul fans thinking bizarrely they can beat Anthony Joshua. And the most bizarre thing out of everything is that Jake Paul genuinely believes he will beat Anthony Joshua. Promoter Eddie Hearn has dubbed Paul a massive front-runner and confirms that serious discussions are underway with both camps eyeing early 2026 for the clash. Anthony Joshua, a seasoned heavyweight champion, has consistently demonstrated his commitment to excellence through rigorous training sessions. His regimen includes intense strength and conditioning workouts, sparring sessions with top-tier opponents, and a focus on both physical and mental preparation. Where's AJ for you right now? I think he's an icon. Like if I ever met AJ, I would be starstruck. I remember being in New York City, my cousin Stag, which would have been 2017, and he beat Klitschko. And it was like I mean, the bar erupted. It was amazing, right? That was peak AJ. History will be kind to AJ, I think, in terms of where a history will be kind if he doesn't lose a couple more big ones cause I know everyone's just got microwave memories where they just remember now. Like he's nowhere near the say Lennox Lewis, is he? But in terms of what he carried, nobody can sell an arena. Nobody. Like he's up there with like stars of other like he can be compared to Oasis for selling tickets. Yeah. He'll fill a stadium. There was a time when I thought he could fight me and fill a stadium. I was just about to say that irrespective of the opposition like irrespective and he will never nobody I don't know Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois will never ever have that presence that AJ has. Joshua has consistently demonstrated his commitment to facing top-tier opponents, notably stepping into the ring with Alexander Usyk, a former undisputed cruiserweight champion and a formidable force in the heavyweight division. Their first encounter in September 2021 at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium saw Usyk clinch a unanimous decision victory, outpointing Joshua with superior technique and precision. Once the belts were finally out of my possession, which I was expecting to win, it just kind of tore me apart. And that's raw emotion live on your screen. Obviously looking back, could I have dealt with things better? Yeah, of course. But at the time, that wasn't the priority. It was just outpour of emotion. There are so many athletes we're seeing across gymnastics, cricket, rugby, and football that have taken time out of their sport to deal with their mental health before coming back in. Yeah. It wasn't the fact I need to take a break. You know what it was? I actually watched a lot of fighters, they've taken time out of the game for those reasons as well. And I think, okay, if they've done it, I should be doing it, but I got to look at myself as an individual. And what it is, I feel like if I take time out, I'm letting everyone catch up and I want to be ahead of the game. While Paul has showcased commendable athleticism and a strong work ethic, his experience in the ring pales in comparison to that of seasoned professionals like Joshua. Paul's training sessions, though intense, have primarily focused on building endurance and refining basic boxing techniques. Do you consider Jake Paul a fighter? Noah, still not? Wow. Really? We're also punch each other and elbow like he was on the ground. I was kneeing him in the face. So you get fighting your sibling to a whole another level. Training wrestling is so hard. Yeah, Dana has always been close to my family because of my dad. Then he's texting Daniel Cormier and hey, Bellemere needs to go to college. Where should he go? I was literally cage side sitting next to Nana. The arena I literally get goosebumps sometimes thinking of it was I've never heard an arena so loud. Like my last fight I broke the girl's arm in the first round minute something completely snapped ripped every ligament in her elbow. I want professional boxers. It's only been 3.5 years. You can only make a certain amount of fights happen. And the plan was always to fight Nate Diaz after Tommy Fury, win, lose or draw. People think there's this ducking of professional boxers. The next fight could potentially be a professional boxer. I'm just getting started. I'm 26 years old and there's only so much I can do. Boxing analysts and experts have widely criticized the proposed fight between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, deeming it a dangerous mismatch. Prominent figures like Eddie Hearn have warned that the bout poses significant risks to Paul given the vast disparity in experience and skill between the two fighters. Hearn emphasized that Joshua's elite punching power and extensive professional background make him a formidable opponent and facing him could be perilous for Paul. Jake Paul Anthony Joshua 50-50 fight. What you make of that? Yeah, I just said in another interview, great. If it is, then you got no problem seeing it. But when AJ Pat Brown, decapitates a strong word, but when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh, well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? When AJ beat Francis Ngannou, he just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. You know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight. Let's do AJ quickly. I watched Jake Paul the weekend. I feel a bit dirty saying that because I'm not a fan of his, but he did say after the fight that he's sort of having DMs or he's dropping text messages to AJ. They're having a chat about a potential fight. What's your view on that, Eddie? Well, look, he's calling out Javante Davis, who is 135-pound lightweight, and he's calling out Anthony Joshua, that's the heavyweight monster. I think Jake Paul is crazy enough to fight Anthony Joshua because the money would be absolutely obscene. It's a catastrophic mismatch that people would tune in to watch because it would lead to the end of Jake Paul. Hopefully not literally, but it's that dangerous that, it's a fight that I don't think should really happen if I'm honest. I would say about Jake Paul, and I've said this in a couple of interviews today, I do think you start after giving him a margin of respect. I think this guy is going through the motions. He's putting the hard spars in. He just went 10 rounds with, yes, a washed-up fighter, but a former world champion that did train for that fight, but they're very clever in terms of the opponents that they pick. They're not gonna gamble unless the money's out of control. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jake Paul wanted to move forward with an Anthony Joshua fight. Honestly, AJ's coming tonight. He's not exactly looking at Jake Paul going, oh, that's my dream opponent. Would he go in there and give him a hiding for, a massive chunk of money? Probably. I'd be saying, yeah, go on. I'd like to see it. The buzz around a potential Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul clash has left boxing pundits fuming, calling it reckless, foolish, and a step into the extreme. Analysts argue that the fight's mismatch in experience and power isn't just imprudent, but also borders on irresponsible. While the commercial allure is undeniable, the health and credibility risks for Paul loom large, making the match feel like a thrill-seeking gamble rather than a legitimate sport. Well, I've got you, Billy. There's thoughts. So obviously you're from a traditional side of boxing. The talks of maybe an Anthony Joshua-Jake Paul matchup. What do you make of that joke? It's just money in it. It's just for money 'cause he'll get absolutely pulverized by Big Joshua. Pulverized. Tony Bello, ever the outspoken voice in boxing, fired back at the showdown between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul, calling it absolutely dangerously insane. He voiced serious concern over the mismatch in size and experience, warning that it's more of a spectacle than a legitimate challenge. Belly went further, suggesting a more credible and safer alternative for Joshua would be a bout with Canelo Alvarez, drawing his discomfort for even entertaining the idea of Paul as a worthy opponent. This is another level. This is a really danger. He ain't fighting a granddad. He isn't fighting a grandfather. It